Hello everybody, here a new video from Renee from Spain, and it's quite late now, but I still wanted to make this video, because I'm a little bit like fucked up, to be honest too, because we had a quite a heavy party night. That's why in this video I want to show some albums. I mean, um, in this video I want to show debut albums that were very good debut albums, but then their second releases were not very good, and I want to show some of that. And also I want to show some of the records I've been playing lately, you know. En este vídeo os voy a enseñar discos de debut que me gustan mucho y luego segundos trabajos de las bandas que me gustan menos. Y también os enseño cosas que he ido escuchando, ¿sabes? Durante la última semana. I explain this a little bit in English too, for people to understand this video. And fui un poquito borracho, un poquito bebido. Pero no pasa nada, ¿no? No pasa nada, que estamos en familia. We are in family. It's okay if I'm a little bit drunk now, no? I mean, who cares? Who gives a shit? We all get drunk too. Don't tell me you motherfuckers don't get drunk sometimes. Anyway, first I'm going to start showing the debut album by Darkness from 1987, Dead Squad. Amazing record from the German thrash metal Darkness. Great album with a lot of great songs. It's the debut album. We have Iron Force on here, Dead Squad. I mean, also an amazing song. It was just a great debut album, that I always really loved. But then they came out with the Defenders of Justice from 1988, and this was a little bit of a letdown if you compare it with the first album. The first album was so intense, thrash speed metal, and this was not as good. They released also a third album that I also have on vinyl, but this is their second album. But the Dead Squad from 87 is amazing. I made a video actually about Darkness in the past, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Okay, the next one I want to show, total different style, is the Vinnie Vincent Invasion album. I mean, this came out in 1986, and this is one of my favorite albums ever. This could be in my top 50 best albums ever. Amazing. Vinnie Vincent, of course, you all know him from his Kiss days. But there's so many great songs on here, like Boys Are Gonna Rock, Animal, or Back on the Streets. It's just a must-have. But then he released, I also have this on tape actually, I was going to show this on tape too. Okay, it's here. So I also have the tape version. But then he released the second album, and this one is with different vocalists. This is Mark Slaughter, that later became famous with Slaughter. I love Slaughter, but I don't know, but it's not his voice. I love his voice on this album, but I think the songs are not as strong. I mean, there's a couple of good songs on here, like That Time of Year, Love Kills, and Ashes to Ashes. Those 3 songs are really good, but the rest, to me, it always had been a letdown, this album. This came out in 88. Another thrash metal band that made a great debut album was Assassin, The Upcoming Terror, and this came out in 1986. I have this actually autographed, signed by the band. And this debut album was such an intense German thrash metal tank. Oh, it's also a tank on the cover. It's just a great, great album. But then they released this, their second album, Interstellar Experience. It came out in '88, and it was really a letdown too. You know, it's more experimental. It's not it's not as direct thrash metal. That's why I was also disappointed with this one. Same happened with Bruce Dickinson and the Tattooed Millionaire. I always loved this album very much, especially the title track, and Son of a Gun was a great song too. And then he released The Balls to Picasso when he left Iron Maiden, and this came out in 1994. I always loved the song Tears of a Dragon, and that I also have it on maxi CD, like a single, because I really enjoy that song very much when they first played the video clip on Headbangers Ball. And I bought the album because that song, but then the rest of the album is a little letdown. Still has a couple of okay songs, but still, it was a little letdown. And now I want to do the inverse. Azucena, she came from Santa and she made this debut album. It was really a letdown. This was La Estrella del Rock in 1988. It's more like of a pop AOR album. I love AOR, but the songs are just not strong. But then she came back in '89 with Liberación. And this is really a killer heavy metal record. If you like Santa, you also like this album by Azucena. She was the vocalist of Santa. Okay. I want to show some stuff I've been listening to. Okay. I've been listening to Van Halen 2. Actually, I was playing that in the background, but of course I put it off because for sure I get a strike, they will put it off, the video. I also listened to Van Halen, the debut album from 1978. This is just an 8-track version of it. I listened to Buckcherry, The Best Of. Great party record. If you like to party, like to get wasted and have just fun and just have great times without thinking about the shit of life, then you should check out this Best Of Buckcherry. Again, I listened to the debut album by Van Halen. It's just something I show here. 2 more party albums I played. The second and the third Poison album. I mean, the debut album is my favorite, but this is my second favorite. Sometimes this is my first favorite, but sometimes the first album is my favorite. Look what the cat dragged it in. But this is Flesh and Blood from 1990. A great album I still love nowadays very much. I don't give a shit what people think about Poison. For sure, the true, I don't think you're more true than I am, motherfuckers, because that's the problem with a lot of people. They think they're so true that they cannot listen to Poison. And they would say, no, I only love the German Poison. Yeah, I like the German Poison too. But I also like the glam Poison. I like it. Okay, here I listened to this tape by Toxic Death. And just now they released, I think on High Roller Records, their first full-length album. This is a great thrash speed metal band, Toxic Death. And this is their speed metal hell tape. Great stuff. I also listened to this one by Cat. The tape is still, I think, the tape is just here. This is their 1996 album, the Polish Cat. Which here? Later I'll pick it up. It's thrash metal. It's not, it's not like the early Cat days, but it's great stuff. And I listened to last week to the early Iron Curtain days. Their demo days when they were more dirty. Like they sounded very much like Motorhead and early Tank Warfare and stuff like that. Great stuff. Iron Curtain in the early days, the demo days. I also listened to Scream Bloody Gore by Dead, their debut album. For some people, this is the best album they ever released. This is a repress from Century Media from 2001. That's why the back cover is totally different. Because normally you have a college, like you have the band members here, a photo of the band members. This got a couple of bonus tracks too, 4 bonus tracks. I also listen to, I don't know if I already showed this last week, Satanash, Thy Darkens Heavens. Very good black thrash metal. It's really, really great. Satanash, they made many records. Very cool. And Acheron is an Acheron member in the band, when they released this one. I don't know if he's still in the band. I don't even know if they're still going on. I followed them till maybe like 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. But, after that, I just lost track on them. Satanas. And I also listened to this one. It's a picture disc with old funeral stuff. And this was the band that had the vocalist of Immortal was on with this band. Back in the day. Abath. But of course his name was different. I think he's on the photo here. His name, actually here we have, this is a different photo. Of course, Olf. Okay, I explain a little bit the story. Because on this old funeral stuff, this is actually the demos on here. Let me see. On the A side, we have the Abduction of Limbs demo from 1990 with Olf. The later, of course, changed his name into Abath, and he became the vocalist of Immortal. But we also have Wilkerners from Burzum on here too. Here you see Wilkerners on here, and here is the guy from Abath. From Immortal is on here too. But these two guys, they were never in Old Funeral at the same time. They were in different times. In 1991, the Immortal guy was in the band, and then in 1991, the Burzum guy was in the band. Sorry, I'm fucked up. Anyway, and in 1990, the Abath guy was in the band, but they never were in the band at the same time. Old Funeral. Great picture disc, limited to 500 copies on Hammerheart Records. I bought this when it was released. I don't know when, maybe in the late 90s, maybe. I don't remember that. This is the back. It's great stuff, Okay, now some CDs I want to show. I listened to the Judgment Day by Sinner from 1994, I think. 97. This is actually one of my favorite records they released during the 90s. These guys kept traditional, hard and heavy metal alive during the 90s, together with so many other bands, because like in Europe, like bands like Running Wild, Rage, Sinner, later on Primal Fear, of course, but it was like during the late 90s. Nocturnal Rites, Wizard, they all kept traditional heavy metal alive in Europe. Iron Savior, the early stuff was great too. It's just great stuff. And this is a great album by Sinner. Check out Used to the Truth or Judgment Day, the title track Judgment Day. There's even a Billy Idol cover song on here, White Lightning. I think it's White Lightning. Yes. And also we have Streets of Sin is on here too. School of Hard Knocks. It's also a great song with Matt Sinner. That nowadays, for I think still he goes. For he still goes on with Sinner, because Sinner started already in the early 80s on Noise Records. Before Halloween got signed, Sinner was already on Noise Records. Great stuff. Here I also listen to Krokus, Change of Address. This is the CD. I have actually loose here. Also from 1986, they changed the style with this one. Got more synthesizers. It's a great. I still like this album. I know it got a lot of hate when it was released, but I like this album very, very much. A lot of great songs. And also, Iron Maiden had synthesizers. On Summer on Time, or Judas Priest with Turbo, and also Helix had it too in the mid '80s, and Krokus too. And a lot of people didn't like that, but I like it. I also listened to Malice, Crazy in the Heat. That is an EP, great EP. The band was already disbanded when they released this. And I watched some movies, but I already showed these movies, I think, in the other video. And I listened to the new, I bought this actually, this is a new release I bought, the new Vandenberg album, with Adriaan van den Berg. This is their 4th release, and the singer is Romero, the singer that's also singing for Rainbow nowadays. And the name of this release is 2020. And it's a great, great hard rock album. It's just great, great stuff, that you all should check. Hey, I'm going to show my cat. Hey, come on. See? This is a cat. I have 3 cats. This is one of them. Hey, they want to go down. Okay, let them go down. Okay, here we have Red Dogs. I don't know if somebody remember this band, Red Dogs. They released one full-length album in the 90s, early 90s. And I actually bought this at one of their concerts. In one of my trips to London in 92. At the Marquis they played, and I bought this there. Just hard rock. If you like Little Angel or Thunder, from the UK, you will like also Red Dogs. Judas Priest, Firepower. I had to listen to this again. I could just not believe they released such a great record in 2018. It's my favorite album released in 2018. It's great, great stuff. It's still great. And just this week, the singer of Brighton Rock died, and I had to play this album again. This was the last album they did in 1991. Check the song Bulletproof or Night Stalker. Great hard and heavy tracks. Great songs. And I also listened to their comeback album, the live album they did in 2001, I think it was. 2002. But it was recorded in 2001. The 31st of December from 2001. Yes, 2001. So I thought I was saying 1991. But anyway, 2001. And they came back and they released this live album in 2002 on their own label. I don't know if it's rare nowadays, but I bought it back then, and it's just a great sounding live album. Brighton Rock, A Room for 5 live. I also listened to some Spanish stuff. Here we have Huma, Luchando a Muerte. This is an album that came out maybe like 10 years ago, in 2007, like 13 years ago. And we have here Fortu, the Obús. Obús. Actually, here I have just one record of Obús. Poderoso como el trueno. But anyway, the cantante de Fortu, the Obús, is on this record, And I think they changed the name to Guadana later on. They got a female vocalist. Great, great stuff too. Another Spanish one I listened to, and it's the last one I'm going to show today, is Zenobia con Alma de Fuego. Si os gusta Dunedain, Tierra Santa y bandas de ese tipo, ya conoceréis a Zenobia. For sure you know Zenobia, you know, if you like Spanish power metal, great stuff too. This one came out also in 2009. Time flies, it's crazy how time flies. Anyway, Marty, you know, from America, he just made a video talking a little bit about the dark side of collecting. And of course, there is a kind of a dark side to it, you know, like, and Komiya has kind of an addiction, but you know, it's the most important thing is to have just fun. And of course, later, when you die, what do you do with your collection? You know, of course, I have a wife and a daughter. Of course, they will have the collection, and if they want to sell it, they can sell it. I don't care. They can buy anything, you know, of the money they can get on eBay or Discogs. They can do anything they want to. They can go on a 3 month trip if they want to, you know, touring around the world. I mean, visiting the world if they want to, you know, because, but at this moment in 2020, you know, I love my collection and I enjoy it in this room, and I love to listen to my music. You know, I love to listen to my records. Of course, sometimes it's just overwhelming a little bit because there's so much, but it's great that maybe you buy an album 10 years ago, and then you listen to it maybe when you bought it, and then you play it again 10 years later, and it's like a fresh album again, and that's what's great when you have a big collection. A lot of times when you listen to an album, it's fresh again. Okay, the cat wanna get out before he destroys my posters. You know, because you wanna get out of the door. Wait, I mean, I'll show him quickly, and then I'm gonna stop. Okay, it's very late. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Anyway. Okay, everybody, stay metal. Don't forget, you have to stay metal till the end. You know, life is very short, to be honest. Everything goes very fast. That's why enjoy it, have fun collecting or listening to your music, you know, and just keep it true, you know, keep it true for yourself. I mean, be happy, you know, with what you have, you know, just enjoy it and don't give a shit what other people think about you or about your collection or about your music or about your taste or about your hair. You know, stay metal, everybody.